gonna make a short video on hopefully taking apart a breaker. This is an old 30 amp homeline breaker. It's a 220 model. You know that because there's two of them here. In the 220, they are bonded with, if it's square D, usually it's bonded with something externally, like this. Other brands, it might be internal. This way, I guess you could separate. You could have two 120s if you wanted. But these were riveted together with some kind of a long pop rivet type thing, as close as I can describe it. But in these things, I never knew what the purpose of these was. It's so that when these are stacked, you have, okay, so there is an internal trip to them. There's a shaft here. Which, let's see if what it does when I flip the lever. It is mechanically linked to something inside. So I guess that's probably a common trip internally too. Now let's see what the easiest way to take this apart would be. There's a label on this one. There, no there's not. And there's the inside of the breaker. This is a home line, so there's a contact here which the bus bar sticks up into like that. Get in here in the better light. And that's the load terminal. There's, it looks like maybe a calibration screw there. That adjusts the, I'm looking for the contactor. Okay, there's the contactor there. You can tell because it's got like a brass pad on there, which can connect down to here. So that's open. This thing is here. That's probably an arc suppressor feature. So if it's on, it's going to go side back there. Apparently that, I'm having some issues here with some of this. It looks like this piece held that bar I saw earlier. This looks like it engages with that thing. Okay, taking this apart, I messed up a little bit, so bear with me. Okay. There we go. This is how it would work. That's open. This piece hooks onto there, so it slides in and out. When it's closed, it makes contact with the current load bus bar there. Goes in there. And that's part of the spring mechanism. I'm looking for, that's connecting there, then it goes through that copper braid. Copper braid connects that piece to this. And this piece over here would be your, looks like it would be the bimetallic strip or thermal element. And as this heats up, it should go like move. Yep, it would move like that. And trip the breaker. it appears that this other piece I saw earlier is a common trip. So when that tripped, it would trip the other breaker too, which is a common, which you do on a 220. I thought it was just bonded with this clip here, but it's also internal, which I guess makes sense, because you wouldn't want somebody to do something stupid. And the other breakers are going to be pretty much the same thing. So maybe a little better shape. And that's the view from the other angle. Right now it's off. So when I close it, it's going to move this piece down, which is an arc suppressor probably. Slides along there. And it's quickly slammed shut. And that's part of how you'd want it. Because it's even only 120 or 220, but you'd still want to close that contact as quick as you can. And then once it trips, if you're going to try and activate it with this bar here, I assume this is the common trip. So I'm going to hold it here, see if I can turn this. This should push that back, and that opens the contact, and that would be a trip. So that's what the purpose of this bar is, and it's a common trip between the breakers. So 220 breakers are slightly different than the 120. Actually, they're not even that different. If you look here, this is the outside of one of the breakers. There's a sticker here, which lines up with that hole, which lines up with where that bar was. So basically all these breakers are basically the same thing. And I'm guessing, from my thought would be anyway, that even the 120 standard breakers probably have this plastic piece in them. Because then they're just going to assemble them in mass production, so they're just going to put that piece in there probably. And then they just rivet those ones in together individually. 220, they rivet them together and they put this thing in. That's all the main difference there is. So that's pretty much how they would make a 120 or 220 breaker. At least this is an old square D one. It looks like it's just a thermal breaker to me. I don't see any coils or sign of magnetic activation in here, so this is just a homeline. QO might be a little bit better and different. I like QO better, but I just had this homeline and I had no use for it, so we're gonna take it apart.